How's it going, everyone? It's Kenneth here, and we have finally put the greenhouse up. I know I've been saying it for months and months and months, but we sort of put a day aside, which was yesterday, Sunday. It started off a bit hairy because we couldn't find the instructions, and I thought I'd left them in my shop, which is like an hour's drive from where the allotment is, because I work quite further away from where I live. Luckily, I called Kerry, my wife, and she found them at home, so we live quite close to the allotment. Quickly went and got them, got back, and put it together. The first thing I'd say, it was surprisingly a lot easier than I thought it would be. A bit finicky in places, but we got there in the end. It took 5 of us about 3 hours-ish to do it. So I will show you a time lapse of how it all went. And at the end of the video, I'll give you a couple of tips on what I think you should do when building a greenhouse. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Got that on camera. I'm gonna do this as a time lapse, but I'm gonna slow it down right there just so we can see that.
Get to making with jive, boy, and shine. When it hits you, yes, indeed. Yes, yes, you shine. When it hits you, yes, indeed. Yes, yes. When it hits you, yes, indeed. Yes, yes, you shine. When it hits you, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, you holler. Yes,
1, 2, 3.
So that's it. I hope everyone enjoyed that. I know it kind of sort of zoomed through, but a few of the tips I would recommend for anyone that wants to build a greenhouse is, number one, make sure you do it with 4 or 5 people at least. First of all, it makes the whole process a lot quicker, but what we did was we had sort of like designated roles for everyone. So for example, Lydia was pretty much like the chief instructions operator. She read all the instructions and sort of conveyed all the information onto us. So when we had finished what we were doing on one section of the greenhouse, we'd say, cool, Lydia, what do we need to do next? And she'll say, okay, go get this piece. Now, I don't know what it's like for other greenhouses, but ours was, all our parts were numbered. So the next tip I would give is, before you even start building the whole thing, is get all your pieces out and put them in numerical order. So for us, it went from, I can't remember what the numbers were, but they were all in order from smallest to highest. If that isn't the case with your greenhouse, which I'm pretty sure it will be, because these aluminium ones, there's like hundreds of pieces. If that isn't the case, get them out and put them in order of how you will assemble the thing. Now, I think you could only do that if your instruction manual was really good. Ours was absolutely crap. All the pictures were blurry. A lot of the times we were like staying there scratching our heads. But Lydia did quite a good job of sort of sussing it out and figuring it all out. So that's tip number 2. And I would say my last tip isn't really a tip, but more of a recommendation after having built ours. Now, our greenhouse is a 6 foot by 6 foot greenhouse, and when we got it, I was like, oh, that should be okay. We didn't want to spend too much money, and I think it cost about £150 or something like, I can't remember, it was last October, but around that price. Now, for the sake of going to a 6 by 8 foot or even bigger than that, it's only an extra 50 or 60 quid per size jump. I would definitely recommend getting a bigger one and spending a bit more money initially. Only because 6 foot by 6 foot might sound okay, but it isn't that big inside. For example, like the side walls are only about that high, so waist height, and then the roof pitches up, which is okay for things like chilies and aubergines and things like that, but you couldn't grow tomatoes up the side. So you could grow tomatoes in the middle, I guess, but I would definitely go for a bigger one, probably almost twice the size, I would say, just because it's better to have more space. Rather spend a bit more initially, because if we had to go buy another 6 foot by 6 foot poly greenhouse, it'll cost more than buying a 6 foot by 12 foot greenhouse, if you see what I mean. So I would definitely spend a bit more money and get a bigger one on the outset. Obviously that depends on your context. If you've got a small plot or a small garden, you might not have the space, but we've got a double plot, or two big allotments, so 250 square meters. So I would have sacrificed a bit more space to get a bigger one, but it doesn't matter. We've got the polytunnel anyway, so we've got 2 places to grow vegetables that need heat, and also a place to store the seedlings before they go out into the ground outside. So that's it for this week, everyone. I hope that was useful and helpful. If you have any questions about putting up the greenhouse, leave them in the comments below. We're no experts, first time we've ever done it, but I'll try to answer them as best as possible. I will see you guys next time. See you later.